Hi, you guys. I'm going to tell you a story that all of you know, but none of you will know it the way I tell it. And I'd like you all to join in. And it's a story about not one, not two, but three little pigs and the big bad wolf. And when we do the actions, it means our hands are talking as well. So get your listening ears on and let's start the story. Once upon a time, not twice upon a time, and not 3 times upon a time, just once upon a time, and a very good time it was, when the streets were covered with Jaffa cakes and the houses were painted with hot chocolate fudge sauce, and the cows ran around with knives and forks stuck up their noses, shouting, eat me, make me into a steak sandwich. During those times, there lived not one, not two, but 3 little pigs. And they lived in the house with their mother. And those little pigs grew bigger, biggest of all, until their bellies were so big they could not fit through the door. And their mother said to them, "That's it! You guys are going to have to go and build a house of your own." And the little pig said, "Sorted, Mom, no problem." And those little pigs, they got their bags. They got their Spider-Man does whatever a spider can bags. And they got their I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world bags. And they got their Transformers, robots in disguise bags. And into their bags they put their favourite toys. They put Spider-Man, they put Thomas, they put Peppa Pig, they put Thomas the Tank Engine. And when their bags were full and heaving on their backs, those little pigs, they set off. And they walked and they walked and they walked and they walked for seconds. They walked for minutes. They walked for hours. And they came to a big pile of straw. And the first little pig, he said, "Yo, dudes, I's gonna build my house of straw." And he got all the straw together, and 1, 2, 3, the house was done. And that little pig, he went inside and he started to play with his toys, and he was so happy. Now, there had been 3 little pigs and 1 had gone, so how many's left? 2. And those 2 little pigs, they walked and they walked and they walked and they walked for seconds. They walked for minutes. They walked for hours. And they came to a big pile of wood. And the second little pig, he said, yo, dudes, I'm going to build my house of wood." And he got all the wood together. And 1, 2, 3, his house was done. And he went inside and he got his snuggly blankie and he snuggled down and he fell asleep. Now, there had been 3 little pigs and 2 have gone. How many's left? Just 1. And did you know it was a little girl pig called Gertie Ever So Flirty? It's true. And Gertie Ever So Flirty, she walked and she walked and she walked and she walked for seconds. She walked for minutes. She walked for hours. And she came to a big pile of mud. But she had been watching building programs on the television, and she knew that if you got the mud and if you mixed it up with a load of cement and if you added a dash of lime to help it go off, Well, you could make bricks that were stronger than Superman. You could make bricks that were stronger than Spider-Man. You could make bricks as strong as the strongest thing in the world. Barbie's fingernails, they never break. So Gertie ever so flirty, she made those bricks and she put them all together, and 1, 2, 3, her house was done. And she went inside and got some chocolate, double chocolate chip ice cream, and she was very happy. Now, the 3 little pigs had built their houses just in time, because the big bad wolf had just come back from his holiday, and he had not put any suntan lotion on his nose, and it was now as red as a baboon's bottom. So he was in a bad mood. And when he got off the coach, he looked and he saw 1 little pig's house. He saw 2 little pigs' houses. He saw 3 little pigs' houses. And he thought, breakfast, lunch, and tea for me. And the big bad wolf went creeping up the path with his red eyes beaming, and his white teeth gleaming, and his pink tongue drip, drip, dripping. And he knocked on the door. And he knocked on the door. And he said, little pig, let me come in. And the little pig said, no, by the hair of my chinny chin, I won't let you big, smelly old wolf come in. Go away. I hate you. And the wolf said, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down. Get ready. So the wolf huffed and he puffed. Put your hands up. And the house of straw fell down, and the little pig ran to the houses of his brother and knocked on the door and said, let me in, the big bad wolf is coming. And his brother opened the door just in time, because the big bad wolf was creeping up the path with his red eyes beaming, and his white teeth gleaming, and his pink tongue drip, drip, dripping. And he knocked on the door. And he knocked on the door. And he said, little pig, let me come in. And the little pig said, no, by the hair of our tin, we won't let you big, smelly old wolf come in. Go away. We hate you. And the wolf said, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down. Get ready. So the wolf huffed and he puffed, hands up in the air, and the house of wood fell down, and the 2 pigs ran to the house of their sister, knocked on the door and said, let us in, the big bad wolf is coming. and she let them in just in time, because the big bad wolf was creeping up the path with his red eyes beaming, ch 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 ch, and his white teeth gleaming, ch 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 ch, and his pink tongue drip drip dripping. And he knocked on the door, and he knocked on the door, and he said, let's all do it together with our wolf voices. He said, little pigs, let me come in. And the little pig said, no, by the hell our tin tins, we won't let you big, smelly old wolf come in. Go away, we hate you. And the wolf said, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down. Get ready. So the wolf huffed and he puffed and he huffed and he puffed and he huffed until he had to go and get his Ventolin inhaler, his blue puffer. Because the house was just too strong. So the wolf sat down and he thought, and then he thought a little bit more, and then he had an idea. He thought, if I climb up the wall of the little pig's house, if I climb on the roof of the little pig's house, if I climb up the chimney of the little pig's house, I can jump down the chimney and eat those pigs. Get ready to join in. So the big bad wolf climbed up the wall of the little pig's house with his sharp white claws. And he climbed on the roof of the little pig's house with his sharp white claws. And he climbed up the chimney of the little pig's house with his sharp white claws. And that little girl pig inside, she heard him. And she turned to her brothers and said, why don't we move this big pot of boiling hot water and stick it underneath the chimney? And that's exactly what they did. They pulled and heaved and pushed that big pot of boiling hot water underneath the chimney just as the wolf jumped. Splash! Right into the water, and it was so hot his bottom caught fire, and he ran away, and he was never seen again. And if you don't want your bottom to look like a wolf's bottom, you should never go near hot water. And when those three little pigs knew that big bad wolf was never ever going to come back, they held their little piggy trotters and they sang their little piggy song. Who's afraid of the big bad wolf?